How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the Courageous Frights channel where we talk about movies and video games, especially those dealing with the sci-fi, action, and horror genres. And today I'm back again for another kind of discussion, review, first reactions, whatever, of Book of Boba Fett Episode 6. So if you saw my video for the last episode, you'll notice that I loved the episode. I thought it was really cool for the most part, but there was only one problem. It didn't have anything to do with Book of Boba Fett. Got it went way off track. It was a purely Mandalorian episode. Half the episode's about him getting his new ship and whatnot. So I was curious to see what would happen. I made some predictions last time, and so we'll look in to see what happened here. So one thought was, are they going to continue the Mandalorian storyline and go see Grogu and possibly Luke and all of that? Or are they going to go back to the Boba Fett storyline? And I can happily say that they decided to just go with both, which was really cool. So the episode starts with Cobb Vanth, the Marshal from Season 2 of The Mandalorian, and he catches some pikes, like, running spice in his area. And he gets into a confrontation with them and ends up shooting 3 of them and then letting one of them go. And so that kind of sets up what's going to happen later on with that end of things. And that's kind of more in the Boba Fett line of stuff, because that's Tatooine. And we get back to that character towards the end as well. And then we cut to the Mandalorian, and he goes off to see Grogu, like he said he would. And he finds the planet Grogu's on. We don't know what planet this is. It's kind of just like a forest planet. Sort of looks like an Endor, but I don't think it is. I think it might be a planet we've never seen before. And he encounters R2-D2 right off the bat. He tells him that he wants to see the child, Grogu. And so R2 leads him to some place where a bunch of droids are building a hut, like a stone hut. And we find out later on that this isn't where Luke and Grogu are. This is actually where Ahsoka is at the moment. And they're building kind of hovels or homes for Jedi, because this is where Luke is going to build his academy, whatever this planet is. And hopefully he plans to have Grogu as his first student. And during this conversation with Ahsoka, and before the conversation and after, we see Luke and Grogu training. And Luke looks freaking amazing. Like, I don't care. I mean, the Mandalorian Season 2 finale was great, and, you know, it was fantastic. And seeing Luke was amazing, but like a lot of people complained, he had that kind of PlayStation 4 look to him. He didn't look like a real person. And behind the scenes around that time, it was known that they had hired a YouTuber who specialized in, Disney had actually hired a YouTuber who had specialized in deepfakes. And I think the channel's name was Shamook or something. I'll leave it in the description. But he did deepfakes of Harrison Ford initially. And so Disney hired him, and it paid off, because Luke looks fantastic in this. Like, he actually looks like Mark Hamill in Return of the Jedi. He's doing much more facial expressions, and he's much more lively and animated. And there's maybe a couple scenes where he looks a little off, but it's nothing major. And so, of course, we get a bunch of scenes with him and Grogu doing Jedi training stuff, which is great. It's great callbacks to Empire Strikes Back. We even see a scene where Luke's running with Grogu on his back in the backpack, and he does a front flip off a rock, and it's just like Empire. It's really good. So it cuts from that, and then Mando talks to Ahsoka. And he tells her that he brought Grogu a gift, because remember, if you saw last episode, he had his Beskar spear made into something for Grogu. And we find out what that something is at the end of the episode. But Ahsoka warns him not to go to Grogu, because it'll only make his attachment worse. Because if Grogu sees him, he's going to want to go. with him. So Mando eventually begrudgingly agrees to give Ahsoka the gift, and then Ahsoka gives it to Luke. And of course Luke was aware that Mando was there and everything. And he has a back and forth with Ahsoka, which is also an incredible moment because fans have been wanting to see Luke and Ahsoka interact forever. And we get that here. We even get Ahsoka mentioning how Luke reminds her of his father, Anakin. And speaking of that, although we don't see Anakin, we do see Grogu has a flashback of Order 66 with the clone troopers attacking the Jedi Temple. So he was there during Order 66. And we get Revenge of the Sith flashbacks. Almost had an Anakin flashback. Maybe we will, because I'm sure he did know Anakin at some point. That was really cool. Then we cut back to the Mandalorian, because Mando decides that, since he can't see Grogu, he's going to go back to help Boba Fett, which is what he was hired to do, even though, he didn't take the money, but he's going to go do the job. So he comes back, and Boba and Fennec Shand more Fennec Shand than anything, is doing a briefing with all of Boba's guys, which amounts to like half a dozen people, about how the Pikes are kind of buying their way through, and they're just going to take over the town or take over the planet, and how everybody's just kind of stepping aside and let it happen, which, to be fair, is what they agreed to do, because they just told Boba Fett they were going to be neutral. So you can't really complain if they just sit there and let the Pikes walk in, because that's neutral, technically. But Mando comes in, and she says that with Mando and Chrysanthemum, they have the muscle they need, but they lack manpower. So Mando's like, oh, maybe I can help you with that. So then Mando goes back to that town that he helped in Season 2, the town that was attacked by the Crate Dragon, which I think was like Mos Pelgo or something like that, and now is apparently called Freetown. And they're content with just doing their own thing and staying completely out of this conflict whatsoever. However, the Marshal knows what's coming, so he's kind of tells Mando that, he'll talk to the people in the town, and he's kind of leaning towards siding with Mando and Boba Fett. And Mando leaves, because, he says, pays his respects or whatever, and then he leaves after talking to Cobb Vanth, and suddenly a mysterious stranger appears on the horizon. And my prediction last week, and prediction of a lot of people, was that Dave Filoni was directing this episode. So either we were going to see Luke and Ahsoka, or we were going to see another character from the Clone Wars. My bet was Cad Bane, and sure enough, it's Cad Bane. So we've got Cad Bane in live action now, which is fantastic, because he's a great character, great kind of gunslinger. If you're going to do the old West gunslinger thing, Cad Bane is all about that. So he comes into the town. Obviously, the Pikes hired him, and this has to do with the situation at the beginning where he killed 3 of the Pikes and then let one of them go as a message, and the message is being returned. Cad Bane tells Cobb Vanth to stay out of it, just let it go, and confrontation ensues. They have a shootout at high noon, basically, and Cad Bane shoots both Cobb Vanth and his deputy, seemingly killing them. The deputy's definitely dead, and Cobb Vanth probably is too, which is unfortunate because that was a cool character, but you kind of had to kill somebody of note to get the point across of how dangerous Cad Bane is, especially for people that have never seen Clone Wars. And that kind of sets up the situation there, where it may still backfire because the townspeople are now probably furious that their sheriff was killed. So they may end up joining Boba Fett just because of that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Boba Fett definitely needs more manpower. He's severely short-handed. It's literally just him, his 2 pig guards, Fennec Shand, Chrysanthemum, Mando now, and like his mod crew, the biker gang or whatever, and that's literally all he's got. Whereas the Pikes have borderline an army and Cad Bane. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And then the episode closes with Luke and Grogu. Luke shows Grogu what the gift was that Mando brought, and it turns out it's a mail shirt, chainmail shirt for Grogu. And then Luke has a box, and he says, okay, you can take this, and you can join the Mandalorians, or you can have this and stay as a Jedi. And he reveals that it's actually Yoda's lightsaber, which is actually a retcon from the comics, because I do believe the comics, there was kind of a sequence where the Empire it was like the Nazis with the book burning, except for it was the Empire burning the lightsabers, and they threw Yoda's lightsaber was one of the lightsabers destroyed in the comic, but I guess they retconned that, so now Yoda's lightsaber is still intact, and Luke has it, which, I mean, if it was real, Luke would have it. So that's his choice. Stay a Jedi and become Yoda 2, or join the Mandalorian. And then the episode just ends. We don't find out what Grogu's choice was. So, what did I think of this episode? I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the animation on Luke is ridiculous. Like, they need to do their own show. And in fact, my only complaint is, just like last week's episode, this needs to be its own show. It shouldn't be tacked on to Book of Boba Fett like it is, because it's really dragging down the other episodes. But, having said that, at least this one did come back to the Boba Fett story. It's like 50-50. Half of it is on Tatooine with Cobb Vanth and like all that stuff. And then the other half of the episode is on whatever planet Luke's on with the Grogu training. Which I feel like will probably pay off greater in Mandalorian Season 3. But we'll see what they do with it here. And yeah, fantastic episode. I can't even complain that it didn't have anything to do with Boba Fett, because it did. It tied things. Boba Fett actually is in the episode for once, unlike last week. He doesn't say much. He doesn't do a whole lot, which I guess that's Boba Fett. Classic Boba Fett. Yeah, overall fantastic episode. I can't wait to see how they end this thing. I'm really, really happy Cad Bane showed up. That's pretty cool. So we'll see. They're probably going to end it with that Boba Fett Cad Bane shootout that was supposed to happen in the deleted scenes. So we'll see. So that's all I got to say about this week's episode. So if you liked this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's episode. And at some point, I'll probably upload my thoughts about the first 4 episodes too, because I just kind of jumped in at the middle. So that's going to do it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you around next week.